All right, you want unconventional results in your life and business. You want to create things that not the average person creates and live a life that not the average person is living. We got to stop doing some things. And that's what we are talking about today in today's episode. So buckle up. This is going to be a good one. Welcome to All In with Allie podcast, the podcast for online entrepreneurs and business owners who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. Before I get started, I have to share with you what a week it has been in my world. I have had a bit of, I'm going to say it. I'm going to use the word because that's very much what it feels like, which is an awakening. I have had, maybe if we're not going to use the word awakening, maybe just like a very, very strong awareness of a few things that, well, one thing in particular that it just for some reason just isn't working for me anymore. And it's around drinking. And I'm not going to talk about it in this episode because I'm going to devote a whole solo episode to this once I get more grounded in it and actually like have more of my thoughts around it straight. And it's not just 2 days in. I'm going to devote a whole solo episode to this. And yesterday I recorded an interview with a friend of mine, Kira Whitaker, and she's a certified yoga therapist and wellness expert. And she has had similar experiences and thoughts as I have. And we just came on and had a very honest and real conversation about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to air both of those episodes within the same week. That way we have a little bit of a theme going on. And like I said, it's going to be in a couple weeks because I don't want this to be a thing, that's like flash in the pan for me. I get excited about things, so I don't want it to be one of those things. And I want to make sure it's not one of those things that like, it's just this week type vibe. And I talk about it and then I kind of abandon it, which I'm a lot better about doing things like that. But yeah, I want to, before I bring it here and like really dive in, I just want to have facts and I want to, again, just be a little bit more grounded about where I am on this subject. But all that being said, this particular episode I tried to record a couple of days ago, and it was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. And thoughts weren't flowing, and I just couldn't, and it makes sense now why I couldn't find the flow and why I couldn't record this. I had tried and I stopped and I tried and I stopped for a couple of hours and it just wasn't coming out. And it makes sense now because the frequency and the energy that I was in, that I was trying to have this very high frequency conversation, was not a match. I was not the person to lead that conversation a few days ago. And I'm going to share with you why when we have and go deeper into it. But I'm excited today because I'm in a much different headspace. And it's the past few days have been kind of mind blowing, the synchronicities and just some things that have transpired. So I'm just going to keep doing me and paying attention to these things. And I'll have a lot more to share with you here in a couple of weeks when I bring this conversation more intentionally to you. But for now, let's talk about this idea of being a match for unconventional results in our life and business and ways that we fall off that wagon, ways that we get distracted and fall victim to, I guess, maybe like other people's influence and forget that we're different. Not that we're more special or better or more worthy than anybody else, just that not everybody wants what we want. There are people who all are as worthy of us or as us, but what they want out of life looks very different than what we want out of life. There are people who their dream and the reason why they're here is to be educators and to teach and lead small children. There are people here who their purpose is to be in the medical field and to heal people and to help people navigate their health in the medical field. There are people who want to work with their hands and who want to build homes and who want to create art, right? Like everybody has their own thing. If you're listening to this, I would assume the reason why you're listening to this is because you want to create some sort of ripple in the world with your creations, with what whatever that is, whether you want to teach, whether you want to provide a service in a scaled way online. Maybe you want to have a podcast, maybe whatever, but you want to do something that usually is, and when I say usually, not that these two have to go hand in hand, not that like if you want to have an online platform and teach online and create your own offers and whatever, not that just because you want to do that, you also want to lead a quote unconventional life, which by the way, unconventional simply means not based on or conforming to what is generally done and believed. So just different than the masses is another way to put it. So it doesn't mean that necessarily that's like your vibe and what you want to do by any means, but this is called All In with Allie. A lot of us here, we're all in on life and we want to soak all of the drops of life and squeeze all the juice out of it and live the life of our highest capacity and fulfillment. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. You know what I mean? And that's going to look different for everybody. My all in on life and what I want to create is going to look different for you and so on. But for a lot of us, I think a common thread that we have also is that we want to live big lives, right? We want to and need to, as we've discussed in previous episodes, make a crap ton of money in order to be able to live the type of life that we're here to live, in order to make the type of impact that we're here to make. Maybe, grow the team or donate or whatever that looks like. But that's a big piece of it for a lot of us. That's a big requirement. And we are all worthy of that. And in order to create, so I'm going to sum these things up. Like whenever I'm talking about big, right? Big results in terms of engagement online, followers, being known, the way you live your life, how you educate your kids, the type of relationship that you pursue and maintain with your partner, with your closest friends, with your family, money, all of it. I'm going to call that for the rest of the episode what I consider unconventional results, because it's not what we see for the most part as quote normal. It's not what everybody else is really going for or even want to go for. So that's kind of the common, for us, for you listening and doing the work that you do, I'm just going to assume that that's something that you are desiring for yourself too. You feel this yearning in yourself, this calling, this pull to do things a little differently, to ask for more, to go for more, to play bigger, to play bolder, to not be as afraid, to not fall victim to lack or fear or scarcity, but to be the example of somebody who goes in a different direction and makes it happen. Somebody who does the thing that they said that they were going to do. Not many people do that. So for the purpose of this episode, I'm going to call that unconventional results. I did a whole speech on this and it was so fun. It was close to a year ago in Tampa. I was invited to speak on the unconventional stage for Direct Sales Growth Community. They were so nice to invite me out. Colleen is amazing. And I got to speak on the stage, and the whole vibe, the whole like title of the thing was unconventional. And that's what I spoke on, was unconventional results. And this is just coming up a lot lately because a few different reasons. I think for me, I've been noticing ways that I've kind of like gotten a little distracted and gotten a little influenced by people that aren't on the same path as me. I see this in my mastermind. We've been having a lot of discussions around this, like with my close proximity group, the one that I'm in, and also the one that I lead myself. So this has kind of been a pattern lately, and I'm excited to talk about this subject. So when I say unconventional results, I kind of already talked about it, but like think bigger businesses, multi 6, 7-figure plus businesses, working from anywhere, any kind of schedule, like not the 9-to-5 vibe anymore, not having to go into an office, a true life of freedom and what that looks for you. So that's going to look different for me. That's going to look different for all of us. But like, if we were to define our own version and life of freedom that feels free for us, it's going to look different for every single one of us. That is, to me, unconventional results, because not everybody wants that and is going for that. So we say that we want these things. If you are somebody who you have this in you, I've called this like a gene, like the hell no mediocre gene. You have this in you where it's like you feel that pull. You know, when everybody's going left, you feel the pull to go right and go for something more or different. You know, if this is in you, and again, that's why you're probably listening to this episode, yet your behavior is nothing out of the norm or like what everyone else is doing. Right? We say, okay, I want these really, really big results. I want to create this beautiful business, be the person of influence, be the thought leader, live life on my terms. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I know what I want, and I'm going to go out and create and do that. So you set forth to do that. You get clear on it. You set the vision. And then you start to notice that not much is changing around you. Maybe some things here and there. Maybe a period of time in your business, things seem to be working. But for the most part, it's like it feels stop and go. It feels like, yeah, you haven't like gained that traction or that powerful momentum where you're like, this is happening. I'm doing this. If you feel that way, it is because, yes, you want this thing. You've claimed this thing. You can have this thing. You are worthy of this thing, these unconventional results. But your behavior hasn't changed. Your thoughts haven't changed. Your beliefs. So you're trying to create this thing out of an old pattern. You're trying to create this big, beautiful new thing out of an old, outdated pattern that you don't even want. You create like everyone else. Maybe you dress like everyone else. You act and think like everyone else. You move like everyone else. Why? Because everyone else is around you. Because that's what you see. Because you want to fit in. Because that's the easy thing to do. The template is there for everyone else because it feels like everyone else is doing the same things. And that's easy. Just conform. Just go be like them. But that's not what you want. You want something different. So in order to get something different, we have to do things differently. We have to think different thoughts. We have to move differently. We have to believe differently. We have to aim differently, claim differently, all of the things. Because at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is you get what you are. Who you are inside, the energy that you are putting out into the world. That is what you get back in return. You get, AKA you create, AKA you manifest what you are a match for. So again, you can say all day long, I'm gonna be the person who blows everybody's minds. I'm gonna be that example, that exception. I'm going to create this huge thing, blah, 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 like we've already talked about. But until you become a match for that thing, it's not going to happen. You can talk all day, and a lot of people talk. A lot of people say, I'm just, you wait. And yet it never happens because a lot of the things that they're doing and who they are is a match for conventional. And again, I have to say, like, this isn't a bad thing. This is only bad for you because you want something different. But please understand, I'm not saying, quote, conventional or what most people are doing is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not what you want according to what you say. So it's wrong for you. And I've been thinking a lot about this because I am I meant to say this in the beginning. And let me say it now. Every single thing I'm saying right now, I am speaking to myself. This is like a self-coaching session because I am this person. I am this person that my whole life has been felt pulled to the right when it felt like everybody was going to the left. I'm this person that wants to create something really big and do things differently than what I see most people doing. And be an example of that, be proof of that, of somebody who really claims my version of it all and goes out and gets it. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I title my podcast what it is. That's why I create the things that I create, and I mentor and I coach in the way that I do because I'm doing it for myself, and I want to help other women do it for themselves too. So if I'm a couple of steps ahead of you, I want to turn around and say, hey, here's what's worked for me. Come this way. That's why I do what I do. But what I've noticed is I've been getting this very confusing mix of results and experiences. And I've been thinking a lot about this for myself. And of course, because I'm experiencing this, I'm a match for other people who are experiencing this. So this has been a big topic of conversation in my world lately. And I've been thinking a lot about this. And what I've realized for myself is I'm talking a big game, but I'm not exactly walking my talk in some ways. And not on purpose, but like the things that I'm gonna share of things that like we need to stop doing if we're getting a mix of results. These are, I added these to the list because there could be a lot of things, right? There's so many things that can throw you off your game for sure. We could talk about this for many, many episodes, but these things are sneaky. These are like hiding in plain sight type sneaky things that can have you forgetting what you're here to do and who you are. You're a child of God. You can do whatever the hell you want to do on this planet in your lifetime if you believe you can and you actually go and create it. And that's going to look different for all of us. So yeah, not because it looks different for every single one of us, not everybody's going to be doing the things that you should be doing to keep you on track. You have a very distinct goal and dream. And in order to get to that goal and dream, you're going to have to drive and stay on a very distinct path. Right? I've used this analogy before. You're in Tennessee right now, and your big vision is California. So in order to get from Tennessee to California, there are very specific roads and paths that you need to go on and stay on until you get to California. But not everybody wants to go to California. For other people, their big vision, their big goal is Seattle. So how they get from where they are to Seattle are very different decisions and beliefs and roads and paths that they need to get on and stay on. Other people don't have a destination they're worried about getting to. They don't give two flying Fs where they land up. So what makes this a little confusing is because we're all bumping up against each other. We're all vibing together, which is great. But when you look at somebody and you say, oh, look, they're having fun. I want to do what they're doing. But you're not stopping to ask yourself, wait, where are they headed? What do they want? And you let their behavior, their thoughts or whatever influence you before you know it. And you do that long enough, before you know it, you're headed to Oklahoma versus California. And you're going to be like, what the hell am I doing in Oklahoma? I didn't want to go to Oklahoma. Well, you started vibing over with these people and you really never stopped to look up which direction you were going. And you were influenced. This is really easy to do. And a big reason why this is so easy to do is because a lot of us, again, I'm speaking to myself here, are kind of going through life super, super unconsciously. We're barely paying attention. We're numbing out to get by, to pass time. We're looking at other people to see what's working for them. We're kind of just like, okay, how can I make this as fast and easy as possible? And we're constantly inputting things into our minds instead of like creating our own, or just not inputting at all. So when you're going through life unconsciously, then you're really at risk of, looking up and wondering like, where the hell am I? You can do that in an hour. You could do that in a day. You could do that in a week, after a month, year. Some people go lifetimes doing this. So the main point I think of this is just like the intentionality piece. Like, create what you want, but do so intentionally. Create what you want, not what somebody else wants. That's the point. Pay attention. Are you on the path that you're on? Are you doing the things that you're doing because you want to do them? Because it's aligned with what you actually want to create? Or is it because somebody else told you, or it's because of what somebody else is doing who's not even going to the same place as you are? Have you ever even stopped to think about that? So here's some things that I catch myself doing and I notice other people doing that can throw us off, right? When we want to create these very intentional things in our lives, these quote unconventional results. These are some things that we kind of get caught up in that, in my experience, can very easily distract you and throw you off course. How many do I have? I put here 3 big ones. But again, these are, to me, the hiding in plain sight ones. These are, to me, like some of the easiest things to fall victim to because they're so, quote, normal or normalized that we don't even think about it or even consider how detrimental it can be to creating the unconventional life and results that we want to create. So the first thing here that we want to be mindful of and potentially stop doing is commiserating to fit in. We humans do the weirdest thing, and I don't know why we do this. I think it's to be #relatable and likable and non-threatening. I don't know. But we do this weird thing where it's almost like we compete each other on who's having a worse time. In some cases, this isn't everybody, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Chris and I, we notice this all the time. We pay attention and we talk about this, but we still do it. It's so easy to do, and I don't know why we do it. But you're walking down the street, you run into the neighbors. They're like, "Hey, how's it going? Good. How are you? Gosh, it's hot, isn't it?" Yes, it's so hot. Oh my gosh, in this rain, you know it's going to rain. I know. Ugh, it's our plants are drowning over here. I know, but ours is almost dead. Yeah, ours actually is almost dead too. And it's like this weird back and forth of negativity. Or like, "Oh, I'm doing really well. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're doing well. Yeah. I have a headache," but it's like, you can't just sit in things are really good unless it's like that very surface level blanket automatic statement. Like, "How are you? I'm great. How are you? I'm great. See you later." And I'm not saying that like we can't be honest here. That's not what I'm saying. This is about commiserating to fit in ways that don't serve us. Okay. This is something that I've noticed that a lot of people do. And I think it's very, very weird. I don't love it. And I do this all the time. And I'm trying to be better about it. But the reason why I don't love this is because we're getting into habit of speaking things into existence that we don't want. And we do this in a lot of other ways too. So this isn't just commiserating, but I've noticed this a lot. And I mean, all over the place. Oftentimes, what we don't want and the things that are going wrong is going to be a lot louder and feel a lot more threatening, obviously, than the things that are going right. And because it feels threatening, because it feels like we're going wrong or something's going wrong, at least from our limited perspective, and it feels threatening to us, our brain is going to kind of want to try and prioritize that and bring it front and center, because in some cases, it feels like you're in danger. Right? Like if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business, and you're having a lower month in sales or day in sales or whatever. And a million other things could be going great, but for some reason the sales are down, at least for like that current moment or period of time. So because that feels more threatening to you, and maybe that's something that like in the past really freaked you out, or you have some scarcity within you, and that's just like this trigger and this thing, this like bright red flag that's like, uh-oh, danger ahead. Sales are down, danger ahead. Your brain is just automatically going to focus more on that because it feels like you're in danger, right? It's this, I guess, a stress response in a way. So because of that, we will talk more about that. We'll speak more about that. And I see Chris and I doing this a lot ourselves. Like after a long day, we finally come together and it's like, hey, how was your day? It was good. This happened, this happened. Cool. Yeah. But you're not going to believe what so-and-so did. Oh my gosh. Blah, 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 blah. This happened and this happened. And yeah. And because it's front of our mind, because this is the thing that feels the loudest in our brain, 10, 20 really good things could have happened that day, but I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I made a post today and I got some of the most loving, thoughtful comments on it. Like people really heard my message and like it really resonated with them and it made me so happy. Here. Let me pull out my phone and read to you these messages. Oh my gosh. And this one chick reached out to me and she listened to the podcast and she said it changed her life. And and oh my gosh, my client had this massive breakthrough. I want to read to you or play the Voxer that she sent to me about her breakthrough and like how things have so shifted for her. And I'm so freaking happy. Like these things, everything that I just said to you, that happens to me almost on a daily basis. Really, really positive things that I pray for, things that I like, literally why I do what I do happen every single day. And mixed in with that are some annoying things, are some things that don't go exactly how I want them to go. And what do you think I commiserate with Chris on at the end of a long day? I might lightly mention the positive thing. The thing that's showing that my work matters, that I'm actually making a difference, the thing that's showing that, there may be new clients coming through any minute or anything positive. That's not what I'm focusing on. I'll talk about that for a minute, but what we end up speaking and divulging in for several minutes, if not an hour or two, are the shitty things, the things that got on our nerves, the things that we are super annoyed or triggered by, or that we're freaked out by, or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about these things. It's actually really, really good to get it out of your body, especially with a trusted person like your partner. Like if you were to talk about that with anybody, it is your mentor, it's your partner, it's a trusted family member, or whatever. Get it out of your body. I'm not saying put your head in the sand, pretend that these things aren't happening. And if it's bothering you, talk about it. What I'm saying and what we need to be conscious of is this imbalance of how much we talk about what we don't want versus talking about the things that we do want. The imbalance of going deep and feeling the feelings of the things that we don't want to attract more into our life versus the speaking things into existence and feeling the feelings of the things that we do want to call into our life and attract into our life. Because guess what? Even though, yes, it's good to talk about the things and get it out of your body and whatever, but if you are feeling more of those feelings and allowing yourself to really go there and feel angry again or feel stressed again or get yourself all worked up and in a tizzy and emit an energy that you don't want to, that like when you really are conscious of it, you don't want to attract, if you're doing that out of balance of the positive, then your results are going to be out of balance. You create what you are. So the first thing that we need to stop doing, those of us that are here to create these big, these big results in unconventional lives and businesses and create the things that we want is we need to make sure that we're focused, that we are paying attention to how we speak and what we put out into the world. And not letting it be this like super drastic imbalance. Talk about it, but then you better turn around and balance it back out. Get it out of your body and then get back into the energy of what is working. A lot of us don't do that. Most people don't do that because they don't realize. So then we're getting, and for me, what this looks like is I get this mix of results. I have periods where you gain that really positive momentum, right? Like, I'm going to have to devote a whole episode to this, but the juxtaposition of last year to this year, and I'm having all of these breakthroughs and awarenesses around this. It's all kind of insane. But like, yeah, I've shared extensively how incredible last year was, particularly last summer, and how this past winter, let's just say there was like some massive positive momentum last summer. And then this winter, it felt like all the momentum stopped. And that was reflected in many different ways, not only in how I felt, but obviously my results as well. And this is how it works, right? Like when you can keep a good thing going and you're being intentional, you get that ball rolling. It's harder to push a car from a stop position. But once you get that car rolling and it's downhill, it's going to go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. This is what it's like when we're focused on feeling the way and talking about the things that we actually want to feel and talk about. Versus the other way, where it feels like we're pushing a car uphill and we can't get anywhere. So this creates like this mix of results, this stop and go, where you're talking about both things, sometimes in a balanced way, sometimes in an imbalanced way, oftentimes in an imbalanced way. So I would say most people, because they're not aware of this, nor do they care, or they think it's cuckoo or wacky, they're creating ordinary results. But those of us who get it, we want to create extraordinary results. So we just need to be more aware of this. So what I want to say to wrap this one up is there's duality in everything. Everything. There's light and dark in everything. There's positive and negative in everything. There's going to be positive and negative in every single day. You can find positive and negative in every single interaction. It's going to be there no matter what. You'll walk into a room and there's things that you can look that are beautiful and things that you can look at that you don't love. There's people in your life that you can look at and find the things that you love about them and then the things that you not so much love about them. Duality is always there. Which do you choose to focus on? And I want you to seriously, like really think about this and take score of how much you allow yourself to commiserate and speak on things that you don't want compared to feeling the feelings and speaking on the things that you do want. Because if you're like most people, there's going to be a serious imbalance here. It's just a lot easier to talk about the things that we don't want because it feels like we fit in. It feels like we're not bragging. It feels like we're being relatable. It feels good just to bitch, which is all good and fine. But are you balancing it out? Because if you're not balancing out, that you are going to see that discrepancy in your results and what you are creating and attracting into your world. And it's going to look a lot like everybody else's because this is what's normal and what's accepted and expected in some cases. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we need to stop doing if we want to create unconventional results is acting, thinking, and behaving conventionally. In any setting, you get what you are, right? You create what you're a match for. If you want to create big things in this world, you have to be a match for that. You have to act big. If you want to create bold results, you want to create your first 6-figure month or 7-figure year or something that feels very bold, whatever, that's going to look different for everybody. But you want to do something big, something bold, you need to put out bold behavior. You want to attract in bold people into your world that make big moves really fast, like paying in full for X amount of time with you, jumping in your biggest containers, people who want to move big and fast with you. You have to be that person who is a match for that. You have to do that for yourself first. That's how you're a match. You create big moves in your world, you're going to attract in clients that create big moves in their world. Yeah, it's really, really easy to say that you want something. And for some people, that's enough. And it's kind of like this weird phenomenon where like it just feels really good to sit in front of a microphone or go online or, say you're going to do something and make these declarations. And sometimes like just the thought and the thrill of that is enough for people. But when it comes to backing it with the action and the behavior day in and day out to actually like truly be a match for that thing, this is where people fall short, either because they don't realize how powerful their thoughts are and the idea of energy and frequency and how that works, or they aren't disciplined enough. They're not disciplined enough. They're too influenced by other people. They don't want to be weird. They don't want to be different. They don't want to stand out. They don't want people to think that they're crazy. So then they get caught up in doing things like everybody else and acting normal and making typical moves and behaviors and maybe playing a little bit smaller to stay under the radar, to appease people in their life or whatever. And then they wonder why they're creating more of the same. Speaking to myself here, what are you matched for? You want to create something unconventional, create an unconventional life, you need to move unconventionally. You got to back it, not with only your actions, but your thoughts, your beliefs, your energy, who you are. How do you become that person? You believe that you are that person and you practice being that person. You do that enough, you are that person. Now you're a match. Now that's what you're creating. Now it just is. This is hard to do. This is really hard to do sometimes. I know an issue, I don't want to call this an issue. This isn't an issue, but a situation that a few of my clients are experiencing is they have this thing active in them, right? This like want and dream to do things differently. This is who they are. But their partner doesn't, or maybe not their partner, but like the rest of their family or their closest friends or whatever, right? So they have these people that just don't get it. They don't want that. They don't understand why you do in some cases, or maybe they do. Maybe they're super, super supportive of you and they believe you. Yes, go get it. But when you're so close to people who are in a caravan, like a theoretical caravan headed to Canada, and you need to be on a private jet headed to California, these two things are very different. different directions require different and different modalities require very different behaviors and thought processes. So the people closest to you want to move north and you want to move west. Depending on where you are, obviously, in the world. Do you get what I'm saying? This can feel really difficult sometimes. And it's not anything to take lightly. Like, this is real. Because it can feel very, very isolating. And this is why I'm such a proponent for getting in groups of people, or quote unquote, sitting at tables with people who are headed to the place that you or are currently at the place that you want to be, because they got there somehow and they get it. They get you. It's almost as if you're speaking a different language. You can speak a different language than like your whole family, it seems like sometimes. And in a sense, it is. And they're looking at you like, why are you the way that you are? Why do you need to take big risks like that? Why do you need to do what you're doing and share what you share on the internet? Why are you talking like that? Why are you spending that kind of money? Why do you have to do this thing? Why can't you just be happy with what you have? It's like, we love each other, but we want different things. And we have to understand that about the other people, about our people too, who aren't a match for us in the sense of like what we want to create. That's what makes them happy. That's them. So we also, in the same way that we want our people to be loving and supportive of us and respectful of where we want to go and what we want to create on this planet, we have to do the same for our people. We have to have a little bit of compassion. They're like, yeah, I get it. I get like the way that I act and the things that I do and the things that I talk about and the things that I want probably does seem different for you. And you may not understand that. And I totally get that. And I don't get you either. So how can we coexist together and be respectful and loving? And we both get what we both want. And this is, for those of you who have marriages or partners where, there's this difference, which isn't a bad thing. Balance is great, right? Opposites attract. The tale is old as time. I think in a lot of ways, this can work out really well. But you have to have the awareness that if you're looking for, well, we're going to talk more about this in the second point or in the last point. But like if you're looking for them to get it or like validate you or give you permission to do the things that you need to do when they don't even want the same thing and they don't need to be a match for the things that you want to be a match for, so they're going to behave and do things totally differently. If you're not aware of that, you're going to be influenced by them. And this is where, again, you get distracted. And next thing you know, you're like, wait, where am I right now? You got to be awake and conscious of what's happening here. So that's the second one. And then the third thing that we need to stop doing, and it kind of goes deeper into that point, is thinking that you're too much or too little compared to other people. We're all different, right? We all want different things. But it's nobody else's responsibility or job to put you in the position and remind you every day of what it is that you want and what you're worthy of and capable of creating. And you need to go and do what you need to do. That's your job. So if you're going to create something really big in this world and create unconventional results in your life and business, you have to have first the audacity to believe that that is possible for you. You have to give yourself permission to do what you need to do. You've got to act first. So a lot of us, because this feels new or this feels scary or you're not as practiced, it can feel, it's like you're looking around for approval or validation or understanding from those people who aren't playing the same game that you're playing. It's like, and you'll see people talk about their partners like this, like, why can't they just believe in me and be cool with what I'm trying to do? Because they don't want what you want. So you need to stop looking for them for permission. You've got to believe in yourself first and then find a way to meet in the middle and have an understanding of each other. And you have to believe in yourself so much that if you stay on track, you're going to get somewhere and it's going to make sense. But they have to allow you to fly in the way that you need to fly. But like, you can't. And I remember in the beginning of my business journey, before I started creating any results, I had this feeling it's going to work, but I had no results to back it up. None. No results. And I'm trying to talk Chris and to quote letting me, but what I mean by that is like be cool with and not stress out about me investing money in mentors and programs and like putting money into my business that hasn't quite necessarily been made back yet. Or, be okay with a period of time where I'm not bringing in money yet because I'm building a brand, because I'm setting the foundation. How I got him, quote, cool with that is because I went to him and I didn't say, hey, do you believe in me? Please believe in me. Please tell me that you believe in me. I need you to believe in me so I can believe in myself. He'd be like, I don't want what you want. I don't understand what you're doing. I believe in you, but the fact that you don't believe in yourself is really freaking me out right now because that's not my job. I had to go to him and say, hey, I'm a little nervous, but I really do believe I can pull this off. I see other people doing it. I have this feeling in me that that's what I need to be doing. I believe in myself. I want to bet on myself. I've done other crazier things before. This is what I want. And I truly believe if I had a fair shot and really gave myself the chance, I'm going to come out the other side. And I need your support in order to do this. And in order for me to do that, I need this, this, and this for me to feel safe and for me to be able to do what I need to do in order to create the things that I want to create and be the person who is going to be a match for these level of results. Can you do that for me? And we still have this conversation to this day. And the other side of that conversation is I realize what I want to create and what you want to create looks different. And who I need to become to create the things that I need to create and to be a match for what I want to create is very different than what you are doing in this particular instance. I realize there's a little bit of dissonance here. So how can I make you feel safe? How can we, again, coexist and be able to move forward together on our own respective paths as a unit? What does that look like? These are conversations that we still have to this day. But again, you can't look for approval and validation and understanding from those that aren't playing the same game that you are, who aren't headed to the same thing. That's like you being a professional chess player and doing what you do in a game of chess and then looking at a pro football player and saying like, hey, do you think I should make this move? Hey, you're a pro. You get it. You play games. What do you think my next move should be? Do you understand why I just did what I did? Do you think I can win this game? Hey, pro football player who's never played chess a day in his life, nor does he want to. Do you get tell me you believe in me. tell me I'm allowed to do what I'm about to do. And he's like, I literally don't know what you're doing. Why are you talking to me? Nerd. You know, like, but if you really think about it, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. When we look to our friends and family and people who just aren't on the same path, we got to stop doing that. So all of these things, commiserating to fit in, the imbalance of focusing on what's working versus what's not working, acting, thinking, behaving in conventional ways when we want to create unconventional results, thinking that you're too little or too much, looking to other people for that validation that you need to be giving yourself. All of these things are simply distractions. They're really, really easy to fall into, and all they're going to do is just slow you down. That's it. But the sad thing are how many people that are unaware of how these things work. They're doing it because it feels comfortable. And then they're looking at their lack of results and thinking that it's because of them, that they're just not cut out to do what they want to do. But that's not true. Every person is exactly who they need to be to create the thing that they want. It's already within you. You're already a match. You're worthy, period. But you've got to walk your talk. You have to be aware of these things. You have to be aware of the energy and the frequency that you're at most, because that's what you're going to create in your life. It's not a personal thing. It's an energy thing. So I hope this served you. If this was helpful, please let me know. And if you know anybody that could benefit from this conversation, who maybe is feeling down on themselves and thinks that they don't have what it takes to do what they want to do, you can send this to them and say, hey, it's not that you don't have what it takes. It's that you're getting thrown off and distracted off course more than you're on course. There's an imbalance. You spend 5 minutes a day meditating and feeling good, and that lasts a total of 30 minutes, and then you get thrown right back into the cycle of normal and what everybody else is doing when everybody else is going in the opposite direction of you. You have to have the mental fortitude and discipline and awareness of your mind and actions being in alignment of what you actually want to create. That's what this is all about. I love you. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you here next time. Bye.